Our baby monitor picked up the room next door. It started with the baby monitor, which is funny because we don't have a baby. We bought it for my niece when my sister was staying with us. Cheap Wi-Fi, promised to be smart. After they left, I kept it in the office because it made me feel like the apartment had ears in case the dishwasher tried arson again. It chirped if smoke built up. It chirped if the Wi-Fi sneezed. It chirped that night at 11:42 and then played a sound I recognized like a scar recognizes a staircase. "Nina," a voice said, not mine. You don't think a monitor can make your stomach fall through the floor, but the human body is creative. I looked at the screen. The app thought it was watching our living room. Instead, it had latched onto a stronger camera across the hall, Unit 4B, a model with the same default password most people never change. The picture stuttered. The audio didn't. The city has thin walls and a mean sense of humor. "Lock the door," Nina's voice said, low and intimate in the way you only talk when you think the world is obedient. There was laughter, the kind that sounds like it slipped on purpose. The man said something about the wine. She said something about the way he said her name. It was nothing and everything, and I was the only audience. I should have turned it off. Instead, I did that thing your worst self suggests and your tired self agrees to. I slid the phone face down, left the app whispering into the desk like guilt, and went to the kitchen to find a more honest soundtrack. The fridge hummed. The building breathed. A siren far away tried to make the night generic again. Nina had texted an hour earlier, "Running late, post-launch drinks, you're a saint." My thumbs typed 3 different replies and sent none of them. I am brave in drafts. At 12:23, the monitor whispered again. Footsteps, the sound of a zipper asking permission, then the small, unmistakable gasp I'd been stupid enough to think belonged to me. I picked up the phone with the gentleness you reserve for broken things that still know your name. "Exit," I told the app. It obeyed. She came home at 1:37 with city air tangled in her hair and a version of herself arranged over her face. She kissed my cheek like a polite verdict. "Sorry," she said. "My boss, long story." "I heard one," I said. It came out steady, which surprised us both. Her eyes went through 3 weather systems: denial, calculation, relief. "Mark." "I don't want you to perform," I said, which is a sentence that sounds good and solves nothing. "I want to know if I'm living in the same floor plan you are." She leaned against the counter and pressed the heel of her hand into her chest like she was checking whether she still had a heart to argue with. "I didn't plan to lie this long," she said. "That's not a defense. That's the biography of most mistakes." "Who?" I asked, the smallest door I could open. "Evan," she said. "There's always an Evan." She didn't volunteer a last name. She didn't need to. The way she said it told me exactly which version of him he was, the colleague with the self-improvement podcast voice, the one whose calendar thinks feelings are a meeting you can schedule later. I nodded as if we were deciding on a paint color. "Do you love him?" "I don't know," she said, immediate and terrible. "I know I love you. I know I like the way he listens like he's taking notes for a future where we're all better at language." I wanted to hate that line. Instead, I envied it. We slept in the same bed without touching, our breaths doing the careful choreography people do when they don't want to wake an animal they can't control. At 3:12, the building sighed and Nina turned toward the wall. I stared at the ceiling until the ceiling disagreed with me. In the morning, I took the monitor down from its little watching place and put it in a drawer. It felt theatrical, like burying a witness. I left for work early and didn't work. I sat in a cafe where the chairs wobble, which keeps conversations honest. I wrote Evan on a napkin and drew a line through it and wrote us under the line and discovered I am not good at diagrams. The door chimed. A woman walked in like she'd been dared to be herself in public. I knew her from nowhere and wanted to be known by her anyway. She ordered tea, sat near me, gave me exactly the amount of friendly a stranger should. On her wrist, the same trashy smart band Nina bought us for Step Wars. On her face, the look I'd been practicing in the mirror, a person who'd rather not know but does. "I'm Mark," I said absurdly. She blinked as if I'd handed her a puzzle. "You look like a question," she said, smiling in a way that made the room decide to be kinder. "Myra." I don't know why I told her. Maybe because secrets rot if they don't touch air. Maybe because she felt like a bench. I said, "Our baby monitor picked up my neighbor's camera last night. I heard my girlfriend's laugh from a room I wasn't in." Myra didn't flinch. She didn't pity. She warmed her hands on her cup and said, "My husband got promoted and started wearing a cologne that smells like ambition and basil. He laughs differently, too. The laugh is worse than the cologne." We laughed then, small and awful and necessary. She asked how long. I said, "Long enough to make rituals." She nodded like someone reading subtitles for a movie she had already seen. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "I want to not be a comedian about it," I said. "And I want to be braver than a hallway scene." "Okay," she said. "Then you need evidence you can live with and a decision you can survive." Evidence arrived at 5:20 when my phone lit with a contact named Lens because the part of me that isn't mature still enjoys wordplay. The building's cloud camera had pushed a notification. Unit 4B, motion detected. I had access because our landlord is lazy about passwords. The window of ethical behavior was very small and I crawled through it. Evan's face filled the screen. It was sincerely handsome and very inconvenient. Myra put her hand on my wrist without asking, the kind of human contact that says, "We can be decent while we do indecent things." "If you're going to confront," she said, "do it in a place where the floor won't record your steps." I picked the little park 2 blocks away, the one with the lopsided fountain and the benches that lean in like they're gossiping. I texted Nina, "Meet me at the fountain at 6. Bring your real voice." She came early. She always does when she's decided. We sat like we were pretending to be tourists. I told her about the monitor. I told her about 4B. I didn't tell her about the tea with a stranger who had a calm like a field. "I hate that you know," she said. "I also hate how relieved I am to stop pretending." "Tell me the truth," I said. "Then we'll decide if we deserve each other." She told me about the first kiss in the freight elevator because the office sensors do nag you if you stand still there. She told me about the second kiss on the loading dock because the night was loud enough to absolve them. She told me about how she walked home afterward and did the dishes to keep from shaking. She told me she didn't sleep with him, not yet, and that the line had moved 3 times in a week and she couldn't find it anymore. "I don't care about courtroom versions," I said. "I care about whether you're willing to live somewhere with windows." "I'll do a month with no windows," she said. "No elevators either. A pause, you at Liam, me at Maya's. Therapy with ugly chairs. Then we choose without pretending choice is a magic trick." I said yes because I am at my best in plans. Then I surprised myself. I want to meet him, once. Not to duel, to ask him to be a human and not a plot device. She nodded, the kind of nod people give when fate has been fair enough for 1 hour. "He'll say yes," she said. "He thinks he owes the world an eloquent apology." He did say yes. We sat on opposite ends of a public bench like men attending their own funerals. Evan had eyes that had learned to be kind because it worked. He looked at my hands like I was a mechanic about to fix something he had broken. I'm not here for revenge, I said. I'm here to not be stupid. He smiled, a quiet confession. I won't ask you to forgive me, he said. I'll only ask that you believe me when I say I didn't expect to be this person. You still became him, I said. Intentions are lighter than keys. We talked logistics like adults who suspect they've been cast as children. He would switch teams at work. He would leave the building by the side door for a while so my body didn't have to see his silhouette and invent a speech. He would not text Nina and ask how she was sleeping. He would do dishes in whatever apartment he deserved to be in. What do you want me to be? He asked, surprising us both. A mirror, I said. So when she looks at you, she sees her own face and decides what version she wants to be. He nodded. And you? A door, I said. Open or closed, not a trick. We shook hands because men have old habits. It wasn't reconciliation. It was a treaty in a small country. The month was a strange, sturdy animal. Liam's couch learned the shape of my back. Therapists with soft shoes asked hard questions. Nina and I met at noon on Saturdays in clear-lit places and told each other the kind of truth that doesn't win arguments, how we slept, what we feared we were capable of, where we wanted to feel wanted and by whom. Some days I thought we were rebuilding. Some days I thought we were giving each other exit interviews. Myra texted twice in that month, never more than a sentence. Found an honest bench. Remember to drink water before you decide anything. We met once by the canal where the joggers pretend they're not performing. We didn't touch at first. Then we did, in daylight in the language of permission. We kissed the kind of kiss that belongs to people who are not trying to prove anything. Slow, attentive, more question than answer. My hands learned the map of her shoulders like new geography. Her breath found the place on my neck it liked to haunt. We kept it where morning could stand to look at it, shirts on, heat neat, stopping while stopping still felt like teamwork. It was erotic the way a truthful sentence can be erotic, because it didn't apologize for itself. At the end of the month, Nina came to the apartment with a bag and a face that had stopped auditioning. We made tea. We sat at our table that wobbles because we never fixed it, and honestly, I love that about us. Rebuild, she said, simple as a vote. Rebuild, I said, because sometimes bravery is just not flinching when the better thing is available. But we date. We don't pretend the old house is fine because the light looks amazing at 6 p.m. We put new locks on the doors and memorize each other's copies. We kissed like a handshake and like a promise. That night we lay close but not entangled, as if the bed were drawing lines for us like a wise teacher. In the weeks that followed, erotics changed shape. Less spectacle, more stewardship. The warm slide of her shirt when I reached the small of her back to say I see you. The quiet shiver of a kiss at the threshold before one of us left for work. The way the hallway kept the secret and blessed it. We kept it honest and day-worthy. We made the bed interesting by leaving it intact. Evan sent one email. I'm stepping out of the orbit, not noble, necessary. I didn't reply, he didn't ask me to. Myra and I sat once more. Benches have a way of inviting continuations without greed. We didn't kiss. We did talk about the future the way you talk about weather patterns you're not in charge of. When we parted, she squeezed my hand, warm, present, not hungry. Be good, she said. Not as performance, as relief. The baby monitor lives in a drawer now, but it taught me something about attention. Most lives get ruined not by the storms, but by the drafts you pretend you don't feel. We set little alerts for ourselves. If we hide in the elevator too long, we say so. If we crave applause more than each other, we say so. We have a ritual now that isn't restaurant pretty. Every Sunday night we sit on the floor with our backs against the couch and tell the truth at low volume. What we missed that week. where we were tempted to be a worse version of ourselves. What felt like sex even when it wasn't. Her hand on my wrist during a fight, my mouth near her ear while the pasta boiled. If you need scandal, I've disappointed you. If you need a moral, I only have this. Don't outsource your listening to machines, but when a machine accidentally tells you the truth, don't shoot the messenger. Learn the draft. Close the door. Open the window. Ask for a kiss you can keep in daylight. Stop while stopping is still a choice. Last night, around the time the building sighs, Nina rolled toward me and tugged my t-shirt up an inch like she was asking to sign something. My skin agreed. We moved in that calm, glad way you practice when you're not trying to make a point. After, we lay there and let the room be a room and the bed be a bed. Somewhere down the hall, a cheap camera watched an empty couch. Somewhere else, a monitor blinked at people who deserved better. The city forgave us a little, in that impersonal way it knows. We forgave ourselves more carefully. And when the night tried to audition for drama, we turned off the app, put our mouths together, and told it we weren't booking that role anymore.